So today we're going to make a cool avatar face, just really something really minimal and simple, and you can just use it by doing basic shapes. So first up, what we're going to do is start creating our shapes. I'm just going to add a quick background by pressing M and just dragging out a box. And I like to use light backgrounds, like an off-white. You can see there, it adds a bit of a tonal range to it and makes it nice and subtle. And I'm going to press Ctrl+2 to lock that. I'm going to go to my layers panel on the right here. You can go to window layers as well to open that. I'm just going to call it BG for background, and then we're going to click down the bottom right here for a new layer, and we'll call it face. And I'm just going to lock that bottom layer, and we're going to start building out our face. So you can use your own face or a photograph if you want as a reference, or you can just make one from your own mind or imagination or whatever. So first I'm going to press M, and I'm just going to drag out a box. You can hold Alt to constrain the points, but I'm just going to drag it out. It doesn't have to be too serious. And I'm going to go to my stroke panel on the right here. You can also change the stroke up here in the top left, and I'm just going to bump that up. The stroke, we'll just use a black for now, and we'll just bump that up a bit more. And what I'm going to do is select this, and if you're in CC, you'll see you get these rounded corners. I'm going to drag these in just like that. So it's really fun when you're able to do that. And then you can make it have a really long face, or I'm just going to move these up, make the face a bit shorter. And I'm going to center this. So if you select your object, go to the top, you can go align to artboard, and then click the middle center buttons, and it'll do that. And so you can make a face like that. But I'm just going to use the strokes for now, just so you guys can see. And we're going to do that again. We're going to make another box for the nose. And then once again, make sure the shape is selected with your selection tool, and then I'm going to drag those corners in just like that. So we've got a nose there. I'll just make that smaller for now. Sweet. So we're starting to see some shape, some form, and we can just play around with this. And now I'm going to make some eyes. Sometimes they can just be like dots, or I can make it more wide. I think I'll just go for the simple. Make sure to get rid of the stroke there. Actually, I'm going to double click on this circle. When you double click on objects or items, you can see that it goes into isolation mode. Everything's blurred out, which is pretty cool. So you can just focus on this one shape. And what I like to do, I'm going to press P for the pen tool, click, go to the middle, find my center point. Make sure your smart guides are turned on by Control U or Command U. Click, click, and then we'll select that. Select the two shapes, press Shift M. And then I'm going to hold Alt or Option and then click and drag to minus those shapes off. So that's the shape builder tool, and you can see we've just minus off the eye, and we can do that. So it looks like the eye has a bit of a reflection, but it is a bit too much. So I'm just going to Control Z that, and we'll just cut off a little bit. And then you can go ahead and move that across if you want. Whoops. Yeah, so you can see the eye's got a bit of a cut, which makes it like a reflection. I'm gonna drag that across, just to make it look different and not too common. So we got that, and we're gonna work on the mouth. So again, we'll do a box, and if the fill's on, you can hold Shift X and it's gonna shift the fill to the stroke. Also, you can press I for the eyedropper tool and select, different strokes or colors or whatever, and it's going to copy it to that shape. So I'm going to use this shape, and then I'm going to select the bottom two by pressing A for the direct selection tool. So you got direct selection and your selection tool. Select these two bottom ones, and then drag the round corners again up like that. So now it's going to create like a smiley face, which is just going to drag down a bit like that. Or if you want it to be really weird, you can make it look funny. Make it long, but we'll just leave it small for now, just like that. And we'll start working on some eyebrows. So just making a box again with the with M with the rectangle tool. You can see you can play around with those points to get a nice look. And then what I'll do, I'll hold Alt and Shift, and then go to your transform panel in the bottom left here. If you don't know how to open it, you can open from the window panel, transform. and select this little drop down menu here and select it and go flip horizontal, and that's just going to flip it like that, and then you just move it across. So now he's got these eyebrows, which is pretty handy. They're a bit thick, but it doesn't matter. So we've got our basic shapes. We can start aligning things to the center if we want. And yeah, and then I think I want to add some cheek highlights. So that will be for our cheeks. And then we'll do some hair now. So with the hair, I like to use the pen tool. So press P for the pen tool. And you can click and drag. And you see the point. And then I'm going to click on this point because I don't want that handle to come out. And then you can see it starts to curve around. So, I'm just playing around with it. His hair's a bit wild, but make sure the fill's off so you can turn that off. I'm going to select this and then press Ctrl J. You can see there'll be a line across, and that's because we've just joined that across. But we're going to add some color soon, and I'm just going to bring that to the back. You can see it's behind there, and this has a fill in it, as you can see. So we're just going to cover that up. So, he's got a bit of some wild hair. And you can always go back and edit these points if they're looking too crazy. And then I'm just putting that behind once again. Add a bit of dimension there. So it's sort of like my hair at the moment, it's a bit long. But yeah, so now we have all our basic shapes. And once again, I can select it all and get the strokes out, but I'll just leave it. And now we'll start adding some color. So sometimes you can add another copy. So I might make a new layer and we'll call it color. So double click and rename it. And then I'll just make a copy of this and then select it all and then drag it up like that. And we'll make sure there's a copy on the bottom layer too. So you can see I made a copy by pressing Ctrl C, Ctrl F. And we're going to lock that bottom layer, and now we just have a color layer. So if we need to go back, we can just go back to that old layer. But we're going to work with this now, and we're going to start adding some color. So you can see I've got a few color palettes. It's good to get some skin tones in here that we can always edit. So we've got a bit of yellow. We might add a shirt later. So we'll just play around. You can go to color or color guide to edit these colors as well. If this colors it's looking too, you can always edit it as well. So we've got a bit of a color palette here, and I put it on the side so it's easier to eyedrop in. So I'll just go through and start eyedropping things in. For the hair, we might have to go for a brown. Or an orange. And you can actually get rid of these strokes as well for now. We just use it as a guide. He looks a bit angry with these eyebrows, so I might actually edit these. Depends on the placement of it, he might look angry or happy. Then we'll just copy it and go to transform, flip that again. think I have an extra. There might be extra shapes. No. Sweet. So yeah. So we've just created a face, and just by using simple tones, and I might decrease the opacity of these cheeks here. So you can go select them both by holding shift. So click, click, go to opacity at the top, but go to 40% just to drop that down. And I might just widen this up. And then again, you can round these off a bit more. So just by using simple shapes, you can, you know, play around and create some nice looks. We might add a bit of shading now, just to add a bit more detail. So what I'll do, I'm just gonna add a rectangle here, and then again select these 2 points at the top, round that off, and then I press my eyedropper with the eye, and then select this light green here, and then I'll make it a bit smaller. So we've got sort of a body. And then what I'll do, I'll press P with the pen tool, and then roughly knock out a piece like that. And I'll put that below. So now it looks like there's a piece of his neck, and it's like a V-neck shirt. And what I usually do to create some shadows, I'll just make sure everything's unlocked, and I might make another copy again. So what we'll do, we'll just make a new layer, call it shading. And then I'm going to press Control C, and then go to my shading layer, lock this color layer, and press Control F. So now we have a copy here. And we'll just work off this just in case we need to go back. So we're going to use this copy. And so what I'll do. So what we'll do is I'm going to copy this head down like this a little bit. And then we're going to go to my transparency panel by going Window, Transparency. And I love doing this. We're going to go to Multiply and drop it to like 40%. And then we're going to select this head. Press Control C, Control F to make a copy. Bring that to the front by pressing Control Shift right square bracket. And then select this bottom one. And then what we're going to do is go to our Pathfinder and then just knock it out. So click the second one, which is like cuts it out. So you can see it just did a cut. And what we're going to do is select this, and then we're going to use the shape builder tool again and just minus those out like that. So now you can see we've got that one piece and that one piece here. So it looks like his head is a shadow on his neck, which is pretty awesome. Also as well, you could leave it like how it was, and if you want a shadow under his shirt as well, you can just make sure you select all the shapes that you want, and then you can see how it cuts off like that, which is pretty sweet. So we've added a bit of a shading under there, which looks really good. And then we can do the same, you know, for the hair. So this hair is in the back. So we can go to color guide, or we can go to color and just drop this black a little bit. And we'll make sure this hair is in front and this is in the back. So once again, Control Shift, this time left square bracket. And that brings it to the back. Like that. Or we can make this one, and we'll make this one dark. Yeah, just like that. So just adding simple shadow so it looks like the hair's flowing from the back and this is at the front. Or you might have a mullet or something like that, which is pretty sweet. And then once again, we can add some shadows under here. Go to transparency, multiply 40%. And then once again, you just select the ones, the original ones, make a copy, bring it onto the top, and then select the bottom ones, and then once again go to Pathfinder and knock those out. Make sure you do one at a time, but because you can see it just stuffed up. And then we'll knock that out. So then you just get this piece here. And we'll do the same with this one. So it pretty much minuses the shape on front, minuses from the bottom shape. And then you can see, might drop a little bit less. So you can see now I've got a bit of a shadow. It looks a bit too much. So I just brought this up and now it looks like it's got a shadow on the bottom of the eyebrow. So it adds a bit of dimension, adds a bit of, makes it look more 3D, makes it more look realistic, which is always good. And for the eyes, I might change the color to a more darkish brown like we have here. So now just by adding some simple shadows, you can, start to get some really cool effects. Even we can add some shadows on the chin here. So if I make an ellipse by pressing the L tool, delete one half, and then what I want to do is just select the multiply here again. So now it looks like he's got a bit of a bum chin, or like a little nice chin or goatee thing in the bottom there. And we might add some more detail to the hair. So what I'd like to do as well here is just get my pen tool out, and I like to just start going along the edges here. And then I'll use the shape builder tool, cut that out, and then go to multiply again. So just applying the same principles over and over again. And then I'll bring it to the back. So it adds a bit of shading there. And you can also do the same for highlights. So if you want to add a highlight, you can just use the P for the pen tool, start dragging out here. And then what I'll do, just flick through my transparency panel. Screen's nice, or usually overlay or color dodge is nice. This is screen, so I'll leave that. And you can see just by adding and then use the eyedropper to create that. So you can create some really quick, highlights that just add a bit more dimension to your piece. Also drag this across, and then once again, Pathfinder, punch that out. And then use my shape builder tool to cut it out. So I want a bit of shading there. Make sure you get rid of all this excess bit we don't want. You can see it's not quite on the hair there, but don't worry about it. You won't really notice it. So you can see there's like a layer. Gives the illusion that there's layers there. Maybe his hair is like really wavy. So we just added a bit of shading, a bit of highlights. Now it looks pretty cool. I think we should add an ear. Forgot to add that in. Make it a bit small. That should be even. And then we might make it. I think our colors disappeared because it was on the other layer. And we might make it just a tone. Just a darker tone, because it's a bit behind. Because the ears are tucked behind the face. And then what I like to do is just do an X. Actually, we'll just do a star. I'm just make it 4 corners like this. And then once again, go to multiply. And then just drag it. So that looks pretty cool. So yeah, he's our little avatar guy. He's our character. I don't have orange hair in real life, but you know, looks pretty cool. Happy with that. And then you can just go ahead, you know, make another layer if you want, but you can see the process from it. So, you know, we started off with the strokes, the color, then you can see we add the shading, and it adds a lot of dimension to it. So always tweak around, play around with it, and you get some really cool effects. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Leave a comment below if you thought this was cool. Don't forget to subscribe for more design content every week.